Hiya folks, it's Jocelyn and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a vlog that I am doing with Brody of A2 Brody. Their channel is wonderful. I'm a very big fan of theirs. And the idea is that we give each other a list of, I think it was like 10-ish titles or so. And then we each read 3 books from that list and then also like do things like the other person. So they've already done this once with Heather from Aphrodite Reads, and I loved watching both of their vlogs. And then this time they're doing this with myself, Jocelyn from Yogi with a Book. The thing is, this is going to be a weird mishmashed attempt because we were originally going to do this in June, and depending on how this goes and how much of my reading momentum I can keep up, I might be counting that original title or I might not. The first book that I read was There by Tommy Orange. This is a contemporary literary fiction. It came out either last year or the year before, but got very, very good reviews. I think most people have heard about this book, even if they don't know what it's about. But we follow, I think it's 6 characters as they're all going to this powwow in, I believe it's Oakland. Again, this has been months, so specifics of this book I do not remember. But I did vlog it the first time. I was looking rough that day, which is why I decided to do this introduction now. But I think that's all I need to tell you now, and so everything else will be updates from here on out. Okay, it's finally day 1 of this vlog where I get to read like Brody, depending on their recommendations to me, and also some of the like lifestyle things that I'm going to incorporate in my week. We have talked since I made the introduction to this vlog, and so they had also gotten through Sal and Gabby Break the Universe by Carlos Hernandez, which was one of my original recommendations to them. And they had gotten to that in June while I got to There by Tommy Orange. But they unfortunately lost all of that footage, and I'm not convinced that my footage from June is any good. So I've decided to also start from the top. So to confirm, I will be reading 3 books this week. The first one I'm starting with is The Lost Coast by A.R. Capetta. This one I already have from the library as an audiobook. And I want to do this one first for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because I really have no clue if I'm going to like their writing or not. I did try and read another book that they wrote with their partner, and I was super just like, didn't care about it, was not into the writing. So I wonder if I'm going to like this one. But of all of their books, this one does seem the most up my alley. So I'm going to start with this. Also because I'm reading a couple of things on ebook right now, and I would prefer to get through them before starting another one. That is the way that I have The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. And I don't want to be reading too many ebooks at once, so holding off on that. The third book will probably also be an audio, and I haven't quite decided. It's either going to be Crota by Owl Going Back, which is another native author. This is a horror, and I have heard good things about the audiobook. I'm on the waitlist for my library. It says it'll take about 2 weeks, but that's not always accurate. I might get it tomorrow. I might actually get it in 2 weeks. So if I do get it in this time, I think I'll read that. And if not, I think I'm gonna go with My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. That one I've heard many mixed things about, but as of late I've heard more good things than not, and I am very interested in it. It sounds extremely intriguing. I do love a good sister relationship, and this is a dark, I think sort of satirical kind of thriller from what I've heard. Either way, those are my selections for this week. I am clearly going to be trying to get to the darker things because that's just the mood that I'm in. I'm also going to be incorporating some of the things that Brody does in their life into my reading this week. So the things they've given me for snacks, they like nuts and stuff, nothing greasy or crumbly. I do sometimes like crumbly and greasy things, love a good chip, but I do have some nuts actually in the house. That'll be good. They also only drink water when they read, which is great. I pretty much only drink water and tea throughout the day anyway, so I have my handy dandy water bottle to keep me hydrated throughout this whole thing. And then they said they also usually have a candle lit and love enamel pins. So we'll go over enamel pins later, but Since I am going to be putting on an audiobook, I'm going to be setting the mood. I'm going to be doing this while I play Animal Crossing because I need something to focus on. But let's talk about my candle stash for a moment. So one of the candles I got recently is this one from Dr. Squatch. It's apparently bay rum scented. It says it's island tropics with spice, but I don't find it that tropical. I definitely find the spice, and it's something that I really enjoy in autumn. However, in getting this candle, I have learned that I don't think I like woodwick, because the sound of the burning, it sounds a little bit closer to like if you have a fireplace or like a fire pit or something and actual wood is burning. That freaks me the fuck out. I hear it and I'm like, something is going to catch fire in my apartment. This is too small, this is not safe. So I always have this one actually in my line of sight because I love the smell, but my God, it's terrifying to just have this sound going off all the time. I think this is a me thing. Everyone else seems to really love woodwick. I am terrified. Another candle that I really love is one I got last year, and this is boulangerie. I'm terrible at French and I'm not even really that sorry. This is the oatmeal cookie scented candle, and I actually got this last year from Anthropologie. So this is the most delicious, like sweet smelling candle I've ever had. I burn it for hours on end. It smells like cookies, obviously, which is just perfect. And if I'm being honest, I could buy 80 of these and never get tired of it. It's my favorite. It's also like very cute and dainty looking. So that is enough rambling about all of the smelly things I'm going to put on. Let's get to Animal Crossing and audiobooking, shall we? Hiya, I am back again for an update. So I've started The Lost Coast. I am about halfway through now listening to the audiobook. I think the vibes of this book are very cool, like the atmosphere is really nice, but I'm having trouble keeping all of the characters straight. So we are following Danny on her own, who is new to this area in California. Her and her mom just moved to the town, and basically Danny is helping them through witchy means. It's very much a contemporary fantasy though. It's set in the real world and they're the only ones who seem to have any sort of magic and are the only like witches in town. It is very queer, as was given away in the synopsis. One of the group is non-binary, at least one of the group is demi-gray sexual, and there are several who are also attracted to other girls, the way our main character Danny is. And they do have a conversation about that, and the label that Danny uses for herself is queer. And while I generally enjoy the like kind of weird group of femmes who all like align with each other and sort of like finish each other's sentences, it very much reminds me of When the Moon Was Ours by Anna Marie McLemore, this like group of sisters that I really, really loved. While I am liking that, I'm also having difficulty remembering who is who outside of Danny. So like the chapters sort of alternate between Danny's point of view and then different people, and it's read by two different narrators. So Danny has her own narrator, and then there is this other person who reads from more of an omniscient point of view. So it'll be like the Grays will have their own chapter as a collective, or the high school has its own chapter, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's interesting. I like the vibes. This is definitely the right time of year to be reading it. I wonder though if this is something that I maybe needed to read with my own eyes. I'm not going to pick up the print book just because I don't have that available from my library, so I am going to be finishing this through audio, but I am wondering if this is something that like my experience is hampered because I'm not in love with the narration style, and this is very ethereal? No, that's not the word. Very ephemeral story. It doesn't feel super tangible. Like I feel a lot of it's like sort of slipping through my fingers in both a hazy and intentional way, but also in a way that feels like I'm missing things that I maybe shouldn't be missing and wouldn't have if I were consuming this in a different way. So not bad by all means, but not great either. Either way, excited to finish that. I'm going to now do some like housework, chore sort of things and eat, and then I will come back when I have another update on either this book or something else. Okay, dinner's almost done, so this is going to be a very quick check-in, but I've read through part 3 now of The Lost Coast, and boy, has it picked up. This last part was super exciting. There was a twist that I didn't know was going to come, so I'm not even going to say it, though I don't know if it's technically a spoiler, but really loving the direction that it's going now, and hopefully I will finish this book tomorrow and still love it so much. I am very, very eager to see where it's going to go. It's pretty early, and I just woke up. Will I look more put together as this vlog goes on? Probably not. But it's overcast today. It's a very gray day out, so it's actually the perfect day for reading. So when I left you yesterday, it was the last bit that I had gotten to of The Lost Coast, and I'm super, super excited to pick it up. So I've been listening to that on audiobook, which means I don't listen to it too late. That's pretty much like my during the day doing things book. So right now I have, I think, just over an hour left, like maybe an hour 15 or so, and I'm so excited. The twist that I did not see coming happened last night, and it has left me energized to finish the book. I also just quickly talked to Brody via DMs yesterday because I wanted to talk about the twist that I'm not going to spoil here in the vlog, but I was like, I need to say this out loud to someone, and I know they've read it, so that was good. I am glad that I got to at least scream my feelings a little bit. I'm gonna try not to give them all of my thoughts because I think part of this vlogging process is like showing each other what we thought in real time kind of deal. But that was good, and they read Mexican Gothic for their vlog for me, and I'm so excited. If you're new to my channel and are coming through like Brody's vlog and this whole thing, Sylvia Hermana Garcia is one of my favorite authors. I can show you my whole stack of her books, but I'm so excited they read Mexican Gothic and enjoyed it because it's genius. She is beautiful. I love Sylvia Hermana Garcia. I love the way she writes, and I think about Mexican Gothic all the time. It's definitely up there for me this year. But anyway, I'm gonna get my day started, and I will check in a bit. So change of plans this morning. I'm actually gonna be heading out for a little bit. My library got in a spooky graphic novel series that I just heard about. And also there is a bookmobile in my area today that is run by someone who I've kind of worked with virtually in the past. He is also a bookseller, and so we worked with the bookstore at the end of the world together. And I'm gonna donate some of my books to him since I haven't been able to get rid of all of them during the pandemic. So gonna do that now, and I will be listening to my audiobook and hopefully finishing it soon to give you all of my thoughts. Hello again. It's much later in the second day now. I am finally home. It took much longer than I thought it was. So I ended up staying at the bookmobile pretty much the whole day, and it was really good. It was really fun to give out books to people. It's been a very long time since I've done that, you know, since the pandemic started really. But I also finished The Lost Coast while I was running my errands. The ending was so dreamy and just really, really good. I think the first half of the novel is probably closer to a 3 for me, though some of that's probably just expectation, and again, I don't think audio is the way for me to go for this. But the second half of the book was like a solid 4. I really started to appreciate the atmosphere that A.R. Capetta was writing. I loved some of the ideas coming out of it, and this really is the perfect time to be reading this book. It reminded me with the tone and the sort of the insubstantial way that magic is talked about. They talk about like the shape of magic, but not the like literal tangible shape of it. It's the shape that it takes and the texture that it takes through words and feelings and emotions. So it's really interesting. But I would say this is similar to Strange Grace by Tessa Gratton, which I didn't love very much because the plot didn't work for me. But I think if you like Strange Grace, you would also enjoy this. This one has more of a plot. And I would also say if you liked Wilder Girls by Rory Power, this is in line with this, definitely less on the horror scale. I would put this between Strange Grace and Wilder Girls. But if you liked either of those books, The Lost Coast, I think, would be a success for you as well. So yeah, book 1 is done and it was successful. I am so glad because I'm like low-key terrified that I'm not gonna like some of these books that have been picked out, but that's like part of what this vlogging is, right? So next I'm going to try and finish up an ebook, but I am exhausted from today. So I don't know if I'll be able to start The Only Good Indians. If I do, you'll know first. I hope you can't hear my neighbor being loud and playing their music out on the street, but that is what's happening right now. And that's just the reality of living in New York City. So I was able to finish a second book yesterday that's not for this vlog, and then I started The Only Good Indians like I wanted to, and I am now 20% of the way through. So I wanted to give a little update and like, what are my thoughts, what's happening? And so far I am enjoying The Only Good Indians, and the setup starts with a prologue following this man, Rick. Rick is one of 4 Blackfeet friends, and the rest of the story so far we've been following Lewis, who is another one. So it's Rick, Lewis, Gabe, and Cass. And we're following Lewis. All right, I guess I'll actually come back and update later because that's definitely too loud now. See ya. Where was I? Oh yeah, group of 4 Blackfeet men, Lewis, Rick, Gabe, and Cass, and we're now following Lewis. This is 10 years after some event. He's moved away from home and has been for a while. He's married to a white woman named Peta. They've been together, I think, 8 years, and things are starting to get progressively more and more stressful. Like, strange things continue to happen to Lewis. I'm assuming he's going to have to band together with Gabe and Cass again and like maybe go back to his hometown, but not fully sure on what's gonna happen. I really have no clues, and I don't really want to guess. I like seeing the way horror unfolds and just like being there along for the ride. I'm enjoying the story. I will say that it's reading a little bit slower for me than I had hoped, and that is definitely because of the tone of voice. So I don't remember having this problem at all with mapping the interior. It read pretty straightforward, but there's something about the way Stephen Graham Jones this time is crafting sentences that just is taking me a little bit longer to like understand what he's trying to say. They're put together in a very particular way that my mind doesn't want to follow them. So it's like very much a me thing, and I understand this, but it does mean that it's a little bit slower than I was anticipating. Still very much enjoying it. But it's just not something that I can sort of turn off my brain and read. I have to actually be a little bit more engaged to follow all of the things. And I wish I could give a good example of what that even like looks or sounds like. But I just know that I myself am very sensitive to the way things are written. And sometimes I just can't follow certain like tones that authors use and certain like writing styles. So not a bad thing. I'm very excited to see where it goes, and I will update at some other time today. I don't really have any plans except to read and watch movies and hang out with my partner. But I also, before I leave here, remembered that I wanted to show you my pin collection. So Brody also mentioned when we were talking about like trying to emulate each other throughout the week that they love enamel pins and have a huge collection and they wear them all the time. Unfortunately, I don't wear them that often because I have a lot of materials sort of like this one that if you put a enamel pin in it, it's just gonna like rip. I have a lot of open weave sweaters especially, so I don't put enamel pins on most of my clothing. I do have one jacket, which I will remember to get at a different time. But I want to show you my collection outside of my jacket. So I have something I bought recently for me and my friend Nikki because we are both Sailor Moon and Animal Crossing fans. And this is a Celeste from Animal Crossing and Sailor Moon like crossover pin. And I'll link her shop down below. I found this on Instagram and I love it. I just haven't found a home for it, so it's been sitting here in the paper. And then I also have this sort of like vines and like natural looking printed pin boards, I guess. I've used it as a pin board. But here are all of my bookish pins, most of which came from Owl Crate, but I'll just sort of like go over these for you. there is obviously this booktube pin that Kate from Chapter Kate created, and they gave these out last year at BookCon. I was very excited to get one. I'll leave their channel down below as well. Then, let's see, a bunch of these are from Owl Crate. This one was for Crown of Feathers, Nikki Palpretto book. This one is for the Kingdom of Back, Marie Lu. This was The Gilded Wolves, I think, by Roshni Chokshi. This one, I think, was Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. This, I don't remember. This says Child of the Library. This one was for Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. And so those are my Owl Crate ones. And then I have like separate ones as well. So Annalie in Real Life pin that I got because I pre-ordered Annalie in Real Life by Chanel Milanes. The Empire of Sand pin that I got from Orbit when I got the Realm of Ash book. And then this is a little Winter Night trilogy pin that my friend Julia got me. So yeah, this is a little pin board that I have because again, I don't really put these on my clothes very often, though I will try to wear that jean jacket to like fully imitate Brody a little bit better. But yeah, that's all for now. I will let you know when I've read a little bit more of anything. And yeah. It is day 4 now, so steadily making my way through this vlog. I think it's day 4. Am I good at counting? Not always. I did not update again last night, so I figured I should probably do that now. I was able to get another 22% of the way through The Only Good Indians. The tone is working much better for me. It's reading a lot faster now that I'm finally like in it. And I just finished the first part. And no spoilers, but I will say this book is a lot gorier than I anticipated, but I'm into it. I'm interested to see where it's going to go because the first part really would have been like a really great ending too for like a novella, but this still has another 58%, I guess, to go. So interested to see what sort of form this story takes now that things have happened. Anyway, so I am going to be reading more of that today. I did get 3 movies in yesterday though, and they were all pretty good. My favorite of the bunch was Save the Green Planet, which came out in 2003 and is a Korean film with a guy who has a bunker and kidnaps a man he believes is an alien. And that's probably all you need to know. Another pretty gory sort of story, so if you're into that, I would suggest Save the Green Planet. And then the final thing for this update is I'm finally wearing my denim jacket, like I said I would. So I'm gonna give you a little tour of these pins. So up top, I have my Yaya Papaya pin, which a friend got for me actually. Then I have, this is from Bitch Media, and it says, outsmart the patriarchy. Then I have this, which is a little horseback riding pin. I got this in 8th grade maybe, because fun fact, when you pass your German riding test, as in like can ride horses in Germany, they give you a little pin along with your certification. So that's what happened there. Then I have this lady pin. This was a friend's band. This little succulent pin I got for my birthday a couple years ago from the Brooklyn Botanical Garden. And then these 2 are Studio Ghibli pins that my friend Kai makes. And I think I've talked about her on this channel before. So I will leave her Etsy shop down below. I really love her art and I really love Ghibli. These are from Princess Mononoke and Kiki's Delivery Service, which is my favorite Ghibli movie and one of my favorite movies all around. So yeah, I will be back hopefully later today. I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty bad at vlogs, but I will be back when I have more to say about The Only Good Indians and when I finally pick up whatever the 3rd book is for this vlog. It is now day 5 of this vlog and I've finished 2 books and about to start the 3rd one. So I didn't check in again with The Only Good Indians, but oh my god, it was so good. Again, no spoilers here, so I'm not going to get into it, but I really love the shape that the story took. It even made me cry. And so in the end, I'm giving it, I think, 4.5 stars. Not quite 5. There were a couple of steps that I was a little, it wasn't quite up to the very specific standards I have for my 5s. I wasn't always involved in the story, though that's probably more on me than the book itself. Regardless, nearly flawless, beautiful story. I'm so glad I read it for this vlog and that I got to get some of this on camera. I did realize though that in part of doing this vlog, I haven't been doing as many Brody things as I should be while I'm reading. So right now I'm about to start book 3, which is going to be My Sister the Serial Killer, because I still didn't get the audiobook of Crota. I have my water to keep me company, and I also have just a little cup of pistachios. They snack a lot apparently when they read, and I do not, so I got a very tiny cup just to like tide me over and to do the thing. But I actually find eating and drinking pretty distracting when I read, so this is me like forcing myself to try something new. And yeah, I'm really excited. I have my e-reader right next to me and we are going to get into that now. All right, so this is actually the final day of this vlog, and I wanted to take a moment to just update because I haven't been able to do that so much in the last couple of days. So I'm on track to finish the 3rd and final book for this whole thing, which is My Sister the Serial Killer by Ken Braithwaite. I'm 66% of the way through right now, and I am very much enjoying that. I like the slow burn nature of it. I like the complicated sister relationships, and overall I think it's a really fun read, and I'm really wondering what all of the negative reviews are. Unless there's something like twisty that happens at the very end, I can't imagine not enjoying this all the way through. So that's where I am with that. But yeah, overall a very good week, and I'll be back at the end at some point. My reading like Brody has now finished, and I had a really good time doing this. I feel like this confirmed a lot of my ideas about where mine and Brody's reading tastes overlapped. I already had the suspicion that they and I have a similar taste with books that are extremely divisive. So with books that people either really, really love or really, really dislike, if they like it, I generally tend to also like that book. None of the 4 that I read were incredibly plot-driven. They pretty much all had straightforward plots, but the place where they really shone was in the point of view and in the voice of the characters. So I can understand how those wouldn't work for other people, but I guess maybe that means that Brody and I are also attracted to the same types of characters. And sort of going off of that, I think another thing I learned is that they and I are both very particular with writing style. Of the 4 authors that I read for this, they all have very different writing styles, but I think the similarity in them is how specific they are. There are some authors that I feel like have, I don't want to say generic or standard writing, but they have a writing that I feel like is very easy to forget or to see through, and you can sort of concentrate on the other things happening. But all 4 of the authors here, I feel like the writing was a very integral part of the way the story is being told, and the writing itself became its own device for telling the story that could have been told many other different ways, but not as strongly. As for the books themselves, if I had to rank them, which I'm going to. At the bottom, I would put my very first read, which was The Lost Coast by A.R. Capetta, which isn't to say that I disliked it, because I actually enjoyed it quite a lot. This is a very strong, like 3.5, better than 3s, not quite to a 4, though I wonder how much of that is the audiobook. I really enjoyed the atmosphere of this book, and once I was able to fully get into that, I think the characters came a little bit easier to me. This one is the lowest because it did take me a little bit to warm up to the characters themselves. I found especially that the grays weren't differentiated enough for me, particularly because I think they were all read by the same person. And while I understand that this was mostly an intentional thing, I did want a little bit more separation of them just for my own self. However, I'm definitely more into the idea of trying out another of Capetta's works, whereas beforehand I had felt pretty lukewarm on a bunch of their synopses, and now I'm going to see if there's any that actually sound like they could really work for me, because I am also interested to see how their writing has changed and if there is a book that they've written that I could really, really love. The next book I would put up there is My Sister the Serial Killer by Ken Braithwaite. This was super solid, straight up 4 stars. I enjoyed it front to back. I'm actually very confused because I feel like I've heard some reviews of people saying that this wasn't a thriller just because like you knew what happened, and I don't understand. I really loved the dread of this book, and I love the way that mounted. I got very wrapped up in our main character's plight, and I guess part of the reason people have issues with it is because this is written a bit more straightforward than some. Like, there's no real mystery to this story, but it's really just about the relationship between the sisters and what we'll do for people we love. And I thought this was wonderful. It also was the perfect length for me, which is not something I say very often. Especially with short books like this one is, I really want them to be either very short and tight or like a full-length novel. And this is right around 200 pages, and I thought it was the perfect length, and I loved the note that it ended on. Super excited to see more of what Braithwaite ends up writing, and I'm also really happy that Brody was the one to push me to read this, because again, I had heard so many mixed reviews that I was a little wary going in, but they were right. This was great. So at the very top was the one that I'm least surprised about, and that is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. This is the second book I've read from this author this year, and this is one that I know a lot of people are reading this year, and for very good reason. This was a 4.5. There were so many things I really, really loved with it that it was very close to a 5-star. For me, the pacing was a little uneven. The book sort of cuts itself in thirds, and I loved the middle third so much, but the first and last third I needed to be just like a little tighter. Regardless, really love his writing, really loved this story, and I love what this has to say about being haunted by your past and the way we inherit those things as well. I know Brody also really likes this author, and I'm going to be reading more of his for sure. I think the next one I'll probably be reading is Mongrels, because that is the Spooky Bitches book club pick for this month, of which Brody is also one of the co-hosts for. But yeah, I think that's all that I have to say for this vlog. It feels like it's been going on forever. I would love to know too if you have any recommendations for books like these, or if anything sort of resonated with what I said about them. And please, 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 remember to check out Brody, subscribe to their channel, and also watch their part of this vlog. I'm super excited to hear what they thought of all the books they read this week, and if they came out with any of the same conclusions I did about the way we read. But anyway, that's gonna be it for me today. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be back with another video shortly. Bye!